If you like big theories, then you might be able to get on board with this one, that all music history has been an exploration of the overtone series. The story starts in the 9th century, when musicians began experimenting with the idea of singing 2 lines together instead of 1. So as they were using mainly their voices to sing, it makes sense to look a bit closer at what happens in terms of the overtone series when we sing. Here's me singing an A put through a spectrogram. These are the dominant partials, and oh, look at that. It's the first 3 partials of the overtone series. Now, different voices will have different partials that resonate more, and that's what gives our voices their unique colour. A trumpet's timbre is pretty different. It likes to party up top by the 6th, 7th, 8th partial. But largely, humans like to stick around down the first few. Having said that, the fundamental is always the most dominant one, which is what gives it the bass note that we hear. So things kind of stuck around the 5th, an octave, for a while, 700 years, in fact. But what changed? Loads of stuff. As well as a general understanding of the way we are as a human race and the way things worked, we got the microscope, the pendulum, the scales, the clock, and probably most importantly, the printing press. With the printing press, as well as notational innovations, we could start putting things down on paper and making more complex combination of notes that aren't just the 2, but might be 3, 4, 5. In this period, we start to see a bias emerging for the major third, which is the next partial up, the 5th partial. I'm going to skip to spectralism, because we can see from the moment we started putting more than one voice together, we were sensitized to the possibility of more timbral colour. In spectralism, it's the next step. By the 1920s, we'd explored all manner of harmonic combinations. Tonality had been tested, broken with the 12-tone series, and the rulebook had been thrown out. So now, instead of looking at how we can combine the notes together, the Spectralists, largely in the 70s, decided to look at the notes themselves and what the nature of them was. In this sense, I think spectral music, or spectralism, is music's answer to quantum physics. Both explorations conceive that things aren't as they seem on the outset. Pitch isn't just pitch. It's lots of pitches sitting on top of a fundamental. Like when you look at a table and you see a table, but then you look really closely and you see it's all just vibrating atoms. Tristan Murray, one of the founding fathers of spectralism, said that musical parameters have been set by compositional techniques, that sound is a force that has its own evolution. And he saw traditional composing techniques as keeping music within its parameters. And actually what we need to be doing is letting the sound go free. One of the key principles of spectralism is that harmony and timbre are the same thing. That the timbre of a trumpet is made that way because of harmony. And so harmony exists independently of function. The composer I really like is Vivier, who wrote single lines, and out of those lines and the partials sitting on top of those fundamentals came what he called couleurs, combinations of tones done in a clever way using ring modulation techniques and stuff with synthesizers to outcompose these colours and essentially harmonize or reverberize a line. His most famous piece is The Lonely Child, and it really is incredible. But if you want to get a grip on this couleur technique, then check out Boukhara, which is made up only of colours. There's no monody or melody. So there's a kind of broadening I like in spectralism that gets the philosophical hairs on the back of my spiritual neck standing on end. You can see this broadening simply by looking at the overtone series as a whole. From the 9th century, the periods of discovery, of musical discovery and human discovery got narrower, and so did the partials getting closer together. So actually, as our understanding gets more specific, our questions get bigger. And when you look at the overtone series as a whole, we can see it is music itself. Timbre, harmony, expression, it's all partials. So is the role of the composer to facilitate this by letting the music speak on its own? If so, what does that mean technically? And if you want me to go into the detail of the techniques of the Spectralist, I can. Just let me know in the comments and I will. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, show some support for the channel, click the subscribe button, and see you next time.